You know, a brother once said that to give a kind of message, to share with people, it's like flying an airplane. You know, with flying an airplane, there are 3 sections, or 3 time periods. One is takeoff. The other is the actual flying. And then the third is landing. And of course, most accidents happen when? Takeoff and landing. The actual flying, very rarely do you find out 2 airplanes in the air crash. I guess it happens and has happened, but very rare. Usually the problem, most problems, landing. And then sometimes takeoff. Okay. When you give a message or a little sharing to the young people, you must take care of these 3 sections. Takeoff. That means what? Your introduction. I told you, with the children, you must get them in the first 3 minutes. Even with the children, you have to exercise this. In the first 3 minutes, you have to have a good beginning. Not just, okay, does anyone remember what we talked about last week? Too many of the teachers start like this. Actually, you defeat yourself before you even begin. Because, don't you know by now? How long have you been teaching? You don't only have to teach 2 months, and you find out, nobody remembers what they shared last week. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. That's exaggeration. Hardly anyone will remember. Do you remember? Do you always remember in this class what we covered last week? No. So why do you expect them? Okay, if you want to have a review with the children or with the young people, you must do it in a way to draw their interest. Not like, okay, does anybody remember? And then they don't remember. He said, I remember we said something about Noah? And you wait for their reaction, and they blank. Already, and you already lost 1 minute of the 3. You have to do something to make up the next 2 minutes. But probably, if you lost the first minute, you may lose the second and the third. You have to have preparation. Right. How to have a good introduction to get their attention. Now, the easiest thing is in the middle. And the problem is some of the serving ones and teachers talk too long. And then they this happened, I don't know, it was a year or 2 ago. There was an airplane that went past their destination. Did you see this in the news? This was in Minnesota, I think, or in Michigan. There was a plane that they ended up going more than 100 miles past their destination before they realized they missed the airport. So they had to come back. I feel that's how many of our teachers are and serving ones. They just talk. They don't realize you have to land. You have to leave them with something practical. And then you're flying, everyone in the back they're not paying attention anymore. Okay, the third is landing. What is landing? What it says here, give them something practical. Always leave them with something practical. You know, in our minds, maybe unconsciously or subconsciously, we always ask ourselves a kind of question after we hear any speech or message or talk, whether in the church life or not, and that is, so what? So what if I did not know what you just told me? Why was it that important that you just wasted or used up an hour of my life to tell me this? Is it really that important? Well, when we share with the young people, every single time we share with them, the answer to this question should be yes, absolutely. If you don't know what I'm telling you now, you miss the experience of Christ. If you don't know what I'm telling you now, you risk not being freed by the truth. The reality could set you free. So it should be that important every time we talk to the young people. So we should have the burden and also leave them with something practical. Now, on Saturday, we enumerated 7 or 8 burdens that are underlying burdens of this year's Summer School of the Truth. Do you remember those? That was the exercise of the Spirit, right? That was consecration, preaching the gospel, entering into the church life. Actually, one after several things. And also, the last one is life practices. See, those points are intended to be the applications of all these lessons. That's what we want to leave them with. Maybe after 21 lessons, they don't remember all those things that you spoke, but they have the burden to be in the church life. You left them with something practical. They have the burden to serve, to go Saturday to the meeting hall and serve, or to serve with the children. Or they don't remember all the messages, who shared what, and all the things. But they have a burden for their friends. They're praying for their classmates. You left them with something practical. Yeah. They don't remember exactly this message, that message, but, their conscience is activated and working. And when they go home, their mother calls them, and they were about to react the way they usually do, and inside there's a speaking, and they say, "Amen, Lord." You left them with something practical. This is what we're trying to accomplish. We do hope that in every locality there could be some who are especially burdened for this area of getting into the material, of preparing the material. Now, we are trying to do this on a recovery-wide level. And there are some brothers who are, with some helpers, who are trying to do this, to accumulate what is being used in all the churches and go through it and see if we can produce something for all the churches to use. But I would tell you that is still many years away. So you can't afford to wait for that. You have to do something. Well, I do hope that there could be in every locality or in